Mr. McLean for 4 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And let me congratulate the witnesses on being here today. I'm going to ask Ms. Gue some questions. First of all, Ms. Gue, you testified here today that Canada is one of the only countries without legislative or constitutional recognition of the right to a healthy environment. And you also talked about that being passed unanimously by the United Nations, which is all very interesting, especially when you look at the map of the countries that have constitutionally enshrined this or constitutionally provided provisions for a healthy environment. All those countries you list here, which are the majority of the countries in the world, do you think the majority of them have better environmental practices regarding these types of hazardous materials than we have in Canada?
Yeah, thanks for the question. I mean, of course, the rule of law is the crucial factor in translating legal obligations to results on the ground. And we know that, unfortunately, not all countries have effective rule of law systems in place to ensure that even constitutional obligations are upheld. But comparing apples to apples here, looking at Canada's environmental performance compared to other kind of what we might consider our peer jurisdictions, I would actually encourage the committee to invite Dr. David Boyd as a witness. He has examined this very question. He's one of the leading academics in the area of environmental rights and UN Special Rapporteur.
We've invited you. We've accepted you to be here.
Quickly, the punchline is, the answer is yes, that countries that recognize a right to a healthy environment do tend to perform better on all manner of environmental
indicators. So let me ask the blunt question then. Of all these countries that are colored in the map that's provided in here as far as environmental rights, do these countries, by and large, have better environmental outcomes regarding these chemical management than Canada has?
Well, again, I mean, we can't compare apples to oranges.
Well, yes, we can. Yes. Do they have better environmental outcomes for things like dumping toxic substances into rivers, better life outcomes as far as length of life, quality of life, morbidity, mortality, all these things we actually measure? Do these countries have better outcomes than the current regime that we practice in Canada, where we actually enforce the law?
Yeah, and thank you for that last bit is key and relates also to the question that MP Collins raised earlier, that it is important to upgrade the law, and it's important to ensure capacity to implement these new requirements. And without that missing ingredient, it will not make a difference. And we see that being the truth, the reality on the ground in some other countries. My understanding of Dr. Boyd's research is that comparing Canada to peer jurisdictions, where the rule of law is upheld, that yes, countries that recognize the right to a healthy environment do tend to perform higher on all manner of environmental indicators.
Okay, thank you.
And I would hope for the same outcome in Canada.
I don't see the same outcomes environmentally in almost every one of these countries that's on this list, as far as their monitoring environment, as far as their mortality. Most of these people die and have much shorter lifespans than Canadians have. And most of these people have less fulsome lives from a health perspective than Canadians have. So, I do challenge your answer there, because I don't think it's fulsome. Would you like to be more clear?
Yeah, I think the member countries of the European Union are probably the most relevant examples that I could point you to, and I don't think you would find the same conclusion.
Okay.